Okay, so we're just going to have a conversation now with one of our clients, Molly, who's just completed 12 weeks of going through a process of changing her body shape and dropping weight. And she's achieved some amazing results. I'm sure you'll see the photo of her before and after floating around. So, Molly, we just really want to ask you, how did you find the process?
Actually, the process was really easy. Um, you two laid it out very simply, in layman's terms, and you always were there if we had any questions or concerns or just kind of doubt in our head. Um, it's not tacky and big words. It's very basic. This is your recommendations, and as long as we follow it, things happened. And there was always a constant communication between the two of you. You were willing to say, hey, let's try this and see if it works. And if it worked, great, let's go with it. And if it didn't work, okay, well, let's figure out why. Not people are going to veer to the left and some people are going to veer to the right, but you let us kind of figure out which direction we had to go. Everybody's body is different and life is different. So it was very easy to understand. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. Frustrating once or twice on my end, just with me and my personality, but it was very fun, very easy.
Awesome. Fun's a good word. So tell us a bit more about kind of where you started from. Obviously, we had a phone call at the very start, didn't we? So tell us a bit more about where you were coming from, because I know you were following numerous plans, etc. So just tell us a bit more about where you were starting from.
Right. Just with social media and, internet and magazines and all the stuff that you can find out there is just mind-boggling. And I came from being an athlete most of my life and trying to stay active, even with things that I know I should do or I know what would work, or just having a basic background, all that stuff that we're bombarded with, especially, with how celebrities look and diet pills and supplements and this diet and whatever is out there, it can be very confusing. So you guys kind of just put the brakes on, you know what I mean? And said, wait a minute, get all that out of your head. Let's break it down into basic. So where I was coming from was, obviously I'm in my mid to late 40s, and don't laugh. And what
you look amazing for mid to late 40s. I'm not gonna
lie. What was working for me, say, obviously in my 20s before children, even into my early to mid 30s with kids, it wasn't working. What I do for a living has stayed constant, but the hours have changed, the demands have changed. My personal life has changed, just like with my kids going from being 6 and 9 to now all of a sudden being in high school and college and very busy with, with their lives. So what I was doing before, what I was trying to go back to, it was frustrating because I wasn't getting the results. But I'm also at a different point where when I was in my teens and 20s and maybe even 30s, I wanted to look a certain way. But now that I'm older and wiser, more mature, I want to look a different way. It's not the skinny. It's like, darn, she looks great. So, and that's just me. That's where I want to be. I'm not saying a certain look is better or wrong or whatever, but it's, for me, that's kind of where I wanted to go. I didn't want to be super skinny and to fit in a certain size, although it would be nice. I just want to be healthy and strong. And like I said, what I was doing in the past obviously wasn't working. So that's where you guys came in. So I thought, okay, I'll give it a try. And like I said, it was fun. It was easy. I got up, I looked forward to, I had to go to work and do my mom duties and all that. But when it was my time, whether it was just 30 minutes or an hour, you know, an hour and 30 minutes, it was refreshing to know that you guys were there as I knew what I had to do. You told me what I had to do or recommended what I had to do. I went and did it. And when I got the results, albeit it was slow and steady, which was great, it was just nice to know, hey, I can send you guys a message and say, you know, I lost a pound or two, or I can see a bicep, you know, and you guys are like, yeah, right on. You know, you were there supporting me. And what I had said before, if something wasn't working, you were like, okay, well, let's try this. And I know your program comes from just basic scientific proof, you know, no BS, no, hey, this supplement, here's $30 for the supplement. And you need to go, you know, do 4 hours of fasted, you know, running at 7.5 miles an hour, which obviously I can't do. So it was just nice. It was just, the whole process was very refreshing, very like a sigh of relief, like, okay, I can do this. You know, I can change the way I look, because I was starting to look a little frumpy. That's all I'll say about that. So it's been fun. I know I keep saying it's been fun, but it's been fun, and it's been an easy process.
No, I really like that. I think that's exactly what we always try and get with our women that we coach, just to kind of like get rid of that confusion and just say, like, there is a much simpler way. And I understand what you're saying with the kind of the slower weight loss, but really when you have this slower weight loss, and you still get to the goal at the end, but when you have this slower weight loss, it's a much more sustainable way of keeping that weight loss down,
right.
which is the most important part, really, because when you invest in these kind of supplements, they don't do what they say on the tin, and the weight comes back on as well. So just before you did sign up with us, like, I mean, obviously I understand your background, you've been into sports and stuff as you were growing up. Along came the children. Me and Chris have both got kids now, so we kind of in the early stages of understanding what that is. Just before you
get ready.
Sign up with us, how long were you kind of really getting frustrated with the way your body was starting to look? How long was that process prior?
I would say probably about three, maybe 4 years. Things started to change probably around the age of 42 or 43 for me. It's like all of a sudden I look down and I'm like, oh, where'd that gut come from? It's kind of like, ooh, okay. And why am I working out so hard and eating a certain way? And why do I still have that thing down there? You know, not that I need to look like a supermodel. Again, for me, my own personal, I was like, whoa, what's going on here? My body's changing. And of course, my mother kept saying, oh, you're in your 40s now. It's all hormonal. And that may be part of it, but I didn't like it. Mm-hmm. And I knew there was something out there. I see plenty of women my age or even older who look fantastic, who still have a life, who still either work outside or inside the home and, you know, have kids and family, you know, just mom responsibilities. But it was, I would say, to answer your question, I would say it was like my early-ish 42, 43. That's when I started to not be happy with the way I looked.
Cool. I mean, I think what I find quite interesting there, which a lot of women watching might actually kind of gain a little bit of hope from, even someone like yourself who's come from this kind of athletic background, even you was finding the internet, social media confusing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, so overwhelming. So, you know, you try this fad diet for a week or two and you're expecting instant results, and then when it doesn't happen, you're like, okay, well, let's try diet number 2, and then number 3 and number 4, and by the time you're on like your 10th diet for 10 weeks or 10 months, whatever it might be, your body internally is so messed up, your head psychologically is so messed up. And then I could see where a lot of people just give up. But I was not one of them.
Well, also, like, I mean, you was doing everything what you perceived to be right at the start when I first spoke to you, because you was going to the gym regularly, you were lifting weights regularly, you were doing cardio regularly, but your workout was actually designed for a bodybuilder without you knowing. Yeah.
Right.
And that was, I remember the first conversation we had when you told me that. because you sent me the workout through, didn't you? And I was like, this is a bodybuilder's workout. Like, why are you doing this?
And if I wanted to be a bodybuilder, that would be fantastic. But for me, that's not where I wanted to go.
Absolutely. So current day then, how would you explain or describe your body confidence and how your results? What's your view, your level of happiness?
I think for me, getting away from the scale, because the scale is just an ugly demon at the bottom of our feet, and it doesn't tell the whole picture, So do I get on the scale? My weigh-ins are Mondays, like they've always been. So yes, I do get on the scale most of the time on Mondays. And before I would let it rule my day and my week and just my life. And now I look at it, I'm like, yeah, okay, well, the number looks good. And then I put on my clothes and my clothes fit really well. So, or if I get on the scale and the number's not where I want it to be, but I still put on my clothes and my clothes fit great, hey, I'm okay with that. And the big thing that I like with your program is the pictures, because if I'm not feeling like I should, I can take a picture of myself and be like, yeah, all right, you look pretty good. You don't look as bad as the scale tells you. Does that make sense?
100%. And how do you feel when you look back at, like, obviously people are going to see your check-in photo. So how do you look back when you see that first one compared to how you're visually looking now?
Could I just say on that, Molly, the big thing for the first one was you didn't actually
I know what you're going to say.
You didn't actually want to look at the camera. So the first one, you had your eyes closed, and I thought you was asleep, to be honest, on that first one.
Oh, it's horrible. Horrible. But, and I think on my last one, I was like, my first one, I had my mom take the picture and she was laughing the entire time. And on the rest of them, I pretty much did myself. But from the first one with my eyes closed, looking like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe I have to do this, to my last one, like, hey, look at me. Awesome. So I was like, okay, I'll take a picture with my eyes open. So, but looking at my first picture, looking back on it, I thought two things. I thought, oh my gosh, this is me. This is that stomach that I didn't like. And I thought, how am I going to get into a bathing suit this summer? Because we live on the beach. And then my other thought was, all right, you don't look that bad. Some women would look at my beginning picture and say, man, I'd really like to look like her. So it's not a thing of vanity per se. I mean, there's always that little bit because you want to look good. But it was, for me, it was just looking at that first picture and thinking, gosh, I need to do something about it now for my health. I wanted to sleep better. Yes, of course, I want to look better, look good in a bathing suit and look good in clothing, but it was about just feeling better. It's like, it's not just one facet. It's a bunch of facets. It's looking good, but it's feeling good, and it's being healthy and getting a good night's sleep, having energy to keep up with my family. But that first picture, ugh.
Awesome.
So I think one of the most important things as well that we always try and get over to the women that we do coach as well is like now, do you feel like you're in a position where you knew the mistakes you were making in the past, and you also know now what you need to do in order to keep your body looking like it does, especially like living in the beach like yourself. We're not as lucky enough to live in the beach. Obviously, being in the UK, we get like 1 week a year of sun, so we don't get that plus. But do you feel like you're in a good position now to be able to, maintain your results that you've got?
Yeah, absolutely. With this whole COVID-19, I probably would have gotten better results if I was still going to the gym. Obviously, they had more equipment and I'd be more on a very regimented schedule. But that being said, it was still no excuse to having to work out at home. It was no excuse just to say, oh, well, I'm done. Number one, I paid money. Number two, I wanted to see it through. So I just had to be creative. At the gym, I might have a squat rack and I could have all the weight in the world on the rack, where at home, I had 60 pounds to work with, so regardless of the weight and how much I could use at the gym and how much I could use at home, I still had to do it. It was about having a routine and staying regimented, and because I had to be, what's the word I wanted to use? I had to come back to you guys. I had to be.
I think also controlling your
accountable.
environment.
Right.
Controlling your environment, because I think ultimately, and this is what we quite see quite a lot on weight loss, is like sometimes things don't go our way. Obviously, no one saw COVID-19 coming, did they? But you get the kind of person who they kind of just completely stop what they're doing, or you get the people that adapt to what's happening, control their environment, and carry on getting amazing results like you did. So yeah, completely.
I had control of the environment. I tried not to let the environment control me. So I just worked around. I just worked with what I had. So, and you guys also made it easy because you recontoured my whole workout routine, going from a gym setting to my clubhouse setting. And then when that closed, it was pretty much just my home setting, and there was constant communication.
Yeah.
So that was nice.
Awesome. So what would you say to women who are kind of watching this and are starting in your position where, maybe they are close to giving up on weight loss, or maybe they already have? How would you position kind of this as a solution to them?
I would say definitely, just give it a try. Number one, if they've tried other things in the past and it hasn't worked, what are you two working with you two? What is it going to hurt? Give it a try. I think, women would be pleasantly surprised again, how easy and fluid it is. You don't have to come from an athletic background or an exercise background, because that's what the two of you are for. What I mean? It's an easy process. I would definitely do it again. I'd say go for it. What if not for looking better, just for feeling better, for sleeping better, for taking the knowledge of the basic everyday nutrition. You can live your life. You can still have a slice of birthday cake, and you can still go out to dinner with your friends and still lose weight or, tone up, or whatever the person's goal is. I say go for it. I say it's well worth it. Well worth the time and the financial end, totally doable. And I don't come from a background where I'm like worth millions of dollars or anything. So,
but you feel $1 million. That's the main thing.
But I say go for it. There's nothing to lose. So
Awesome.
I would highly recommend.
Awesome.
I would highly recommend you guys.
Brilliant. Well, thank you, Molly. Thank you for your time. I hope the women feeling inspired from your closed-eyed beginning to your wide-eyed ending. Cool. Thank you.
I'll as soon as the weather gets nice and I can actually get on the beach, I'll take some more pictures.
You're just rubbing it in that you've got a beach near you.
I'm sorry. You guys can visit anytime. As long as you bring your significant other, you can bring your significant others and your babies.
Sounds like a party to me, Rob. Sounds like a party.
Sounds good. Amazing. Thank you for your time.
Thank you,
You're very welcome.